Okay, let me explain to you why you want to separate out job costs from overhead. Let me give you an example of a retail store. They have an overhead. They have some fixed salaries, people that work hourly, but they work pretty much the same hours. They have rent or a lease, and they have these operational costs that are fixed. And they know they need to sell a certain amount of retail products for them to cover the overhead. So you want to look at it the same way in a construction company. You have your overhead, and it can be your rent, your receptionist, uh, marketing, mail, operating expenses. And you want to have enough money left from your jobs to cover the overhead. So you have to separate those two out. The biggest mistakes that I see in many, many clients that come to me is as follows. First of all, they put all the labor, wages, expenses in payroll, and payroll gets put automatically into overhead. But these need to be separated out. The job costs that are payroll should be in job costs. When somebody works on a job, that should be a job cost. Whereas the receptionist should be in overhead. But if you have somebody on salary that you pay, even if it rains, like a production supervisor, they should not be a job cost. They should be in overhead. You have to separate those out because you have those fixed costs that you have. It's like they call it the nut. You have to beat it by, for every job, going to contribute to pay that overhead. And workers' comp, for example, gets put under insurance. It should be for labor, it should be put in job costs. Another one that I see very many times completely miscategorized is merchant fees. Merchant fees, you don't pay merchant fees unless you have a sale. So merchant fees should be in COGS. So you have to separate those out. And that is the number one error that I see that people do when they separate out, or they should separate out, workers' comp from, job costs from overhead.